Live. Okay, we're live. Okay, it's John here. It's Sunday, 13th of April 2025. I think I've got not enough light here. Anyway, I'll just turn this on. Get a bit more light here. No, that didn't make any difference. I'm going to put the light on. Then that's off. No, not that light. But anyway, I'll just never mind, leave that like that. Anyway, it's a little bit dark. So we're going to be talking about Gregory Cook and the Admiralty. That's the subject at the moment up at Waitangi and also at Waikare Marae in Kawakawa, and his claim to be some sort of chief, Tamati Wakanene, or Thomas Walker, white man, that he's claiming to be the chief of Ngāpuhi is mistaken because he said that I went up the hill which means up Pakaru Road, that's nowhere near Waikere Marae, and he's making claims or jurisdiction of the flag of King William IV, 1834-1835, Confederation of United Tribes of New Zealand, and he's trying to be the king of the documents that he hasn't got to confirm that he is licensed to be an admiral, forcing Admiralty martial law on civilians that are named, and they have a complaint against him as impersonating a Navy officer on Waikere Marae, which is to me surprising that even Ken Brown in Ngāti Hine, in that area of Ngāti Rahiri and Ngāti Kawa and Ngāti Rehia, is speaking as a Tamati Wakanene, whakapapa, that he says he's got the authority from his whānau and hapu and iwi to be the chief of Ngāpuhi after all this years that have been 50 years with Ngāpuhi in the whakamininga in Kaio with Nuki Ulrich, and they know very well that I've been there with the Ratana Church, Catholic Church, and Gregory himself even went up to Kaio to check me out to see if I was there, and as a longest standing chief of the whakamininga there, and found it was correct and true. And then here he is saying he's done 20 years of research on the history of Ngāpuhi, and then claims to have done all the research himself and made a statement that he's been following me as my understudy. No, he's never been my understudy. He's never been on any marae in Ngāpuhi. All the years I've been there with them and grew up with them, it's in my blood. It's not in his blood. And he's a chief of Okiato, got burnt down. That courthouse, native courthouse, got burnt down because Hone Heke cut the flag down 4 times, the British flag, and so they shifted their native court to Awaroa in Helensville on the 20-acre block, 10-acre block there of land belonging to the Manukau family, and that native surname Manukau, which the Waitangi Tribunal has used the Manukau Land Title Act Native Act of Rewharewha Manukau, and that formed the basis of what Ratana Church used while the government went to Ratana to get the permission to use that 10-acre block of land of the connection of that to King George IV in Britain as the Crown Corporation of King William IV and King George IV and King William III of Orange. So that's the Admiralty mortgage blueprint in Helensville, and Gregory used D. Harp or Dion Walker to be his understudy to steal the chair of Judge John Rogan, Scottish man, that was a Freemason with Mohi Manukau, 50 years Mohi Manukau. That certificate I'm using as the Masons for Property, Nations Property Trust Act 1956 and amended to 2023. That's what I'm using as my jurisdiction to speak for the judge of a native court. And Gregory Cook has got his native court, so-called, in Waikare Marae in Kawakawa, Waikare Marae in Kawakawa. I doubt if they would ever have a hui there for him to be succeeding to a chief native surname of Ututonga. That's why he came to the East Coast to see my brother to go and uplift the Ututonga native title because they're the only name that was on the whole of Bay of Islands, one house. I've got that title and I got it from Hare Ututonga, Harry Williams. So the Williams used the Ututonga title for their title. And here's Gregory Cook in 2025 wanted to steal it again and claim it for his hill. What he calls the hill is on Pakaru Road with Amen High, Highhigh, High, and her family's property there, where he put the flag up on the shed there, where he was having his hui and his taumata. His taumata is that lineup of those faces I've got on Facebook to show you it's in his head. A cook that's gone and did that to Tamati Wakanene, and even Kate Frost is claiming to have Tamati Wakanene as her tupuna and whakapapa. Well, I'll tell you this. You better listen up to me. Tamati Wakanene, whakapapa, is Mr. Thomas Walker, Nana, Nanny, or queer, woman. This is what's mischief about Gregory Cook. He's like all the rest of them that are using Maori names to make themselves into somebody they're not. And even Pomare sold the first lands, Maori land, in 1820. And Pomare is Mr. Palmer, the white man. You see? Maori in carving on the face. You don't believe everything you see. Don't believe carvings on a Maori, the tattoos and the imprints of their whakapapa. Because I tell you what, if you go to the High Court in London, I set it all up in the Rolls building, they're going to have a look at your surname on your 2 feet. A Cook and a Palmer, Geoffrey Palmer, the ex-prime minister, is a Pomare. See? He's the one that made the 1986 Constitution of New Zealand that you've been using all these years, since 1986, and also Australia government, New South Wales, they're using the same 1986 Constitution of New Zealand. I've got it all on my Facebook. 87 Facebooks out of 110 Facebooks, and it's there. the 1986 Constitution of Australia comes from Jeffrey Palmer. Poor Marae here in New Zealand, a mischief white man, paleface, that's gone and twisted the whakapapa because they created the Maori whakapapa and the Maori word. You see, I know. My daughter, she worked in the births, deaths, and marriages in Manukau City and knows the whakapapa back to front. Who is who in the zoo? Right? That's what I'm saying. I want to go to Waikare Marae in Kawakawa and invite me there to be like all the other maraes in Waitangi and around the Bay of Islands where being having native court hearings. Even Waitangi Marae had hui in there with Kingi Todo, a native magistrate King's Bench court there with Hohepa Epiha and what's his name? William the other one. I'll forget his name now. But anyway, him. We had those guys, the old guys, in there with me. Okay, so there, I've been through the whole place in 50 years, and this fella Cook comes along and makes up that I am not true. All my stuff is radu is not true, and he's got the whakapapa. Mr. Thomas Walker. He's got Dion Walker. He wanted to change his name to Pico in Raglan. They threw him out because he's not a Pico. Full stop. You can't change your name because it's on the title of your Maori land court records. Okay? Your name is there. And even Michelle Coco. I've never heard of that name anywhere in Ngāpuhi. And she says she's from there. This is what whakapapa does. It gets you all over the place when you're not on your 2 feet. You're on the Rotorua Native Land Court titles. There, see? You got there, not over here, not up in Ngāpuhi. I know who's who in the zoo. I know who's real and who's not. I just look at the names and I can tell, just looking at them. There's transliterations on my site to tell you what name is real and what's not. Okay, if your name is not there, like Kohere is a Morgan Bank. It's not real, people. That's the one that took my land at the East Cape, put their name on, threw me off, and trespassed me. That's why I don't go back there anymore, because even my brother told me I'm bullshit. You see, they are all colonized in the brain. Even my brother is colonized in the brain. It can't change because it's too late.